it was really just one symptom, and it just happened one day.
Kayleigh was engaged, thinking about marriage.
And I called my doctor right away.
When one symptom, one day, changed her whole life.
There's blood in my stool. I need to see you.
She remembers that first doctor's appointment like it was yesterday.
What's going on? This doesn't happen to me. This is very out of the norm for my body. Looking back, it was a very small amount of stool. It wasn't even on the toilet paper. It was just mixed in around. And so she initially thought it was hemorrhoids, and I don't blame her for that because it was a small amount. At that point, I asked for a fit test because I was kind of confused on, why we weren't doing that right off the bat, since my main symptom was blood in the stool. And then that came back positive. I did some research and wanted to know what qualifies you for a colonoscopy, and I found out that a positive fit test does. And so I asked my doctor, I was like, I know that I'm able to qualify now. Can we please put that referral in? And she did so right away.
Kayleigh waited for that colonoscopy appointment for 4 months.
Well, that's when my symptoms started to really ramp up, because before that it was just blood in the stool every other week, then every week, and it still wasn't a lot. I actually thought that I was maybe it's IBS, maybe it's colitis, maybe I really didn't think that it was, the big C word. I was constantly on ChatGPT or Googling things, being like, what could it be? And trying to figure it out, because at this point it's been 6 months of not knowing. And I would even say, looking back, that not knowing is still probably the hardest part of this whole journey. Obviously, finding out that you have cancer was probably the pinnacle of it all, but I think the not knowing and not being able to do anything when your body is just so out of whack, it just really drives you crazy.
Kayleigh pushed for the colonoscopy.
When I told them, hey, my referral went in January, these are my symptoms, or these were my symptoms, these are my new symptoms, and this is how it's affecting my mental health. Can we expedite this referral? And then I was seen for a consultation within 2 weeks. Basically, I saw him, and he wasn't very concerned. He really didn't think that we were going to find anything. I even offered, I was like, I have photos if you want to see, the severity of it at this point. And he was like, no, you're young, you're healthy. I don't think we're going to find anything, but we're going to do the colonoscopy because of the blood and the mucus, which I had. And then lo and behold, he ate his words pretty quickly.
It was cancer.
I'd say mainly disbelief. I was still kind of drugged up from the colonoscopy, so a little out of it, and just beside myself, not fully understanding the words that he was saying to me. I could hear him, but it wasn't registering. It was like, there's no way. No, it must have been a mistake. Then I heard the word biopsy, and I remember waking up and the screen was just right there.
It was the kind of truth that broke Kayleigh and her fiancé's hearts.
He was also beside himself, but I think he was a lot more quiet and internalized his emotions, because he wanted to leave space for me to be emotional. And so he wanted to be there for me. He didn't want me to be there for him through that, and didn't want to show me that, because he knew I would. He's been amazing.
This marked the beginning of chemotherapy and radiation, with the hope that surgery would come later.
When you think of chemo and radiation, you have this idea of how bad it's going to be. It can be. I don't want to downplay that at all, but it's also quite manageable. And you can still live your daily life, and you can still, see friends and do things, and you're still you, and you can still work out, and it doesn't take everything away from you. Maybe sometimes for some people it does, but for anyone who's newly diagnosed, everyone's different, and everyone reacts differently to the drugs that they're prescribed. And so I thought I was going to be debilitated throughout this whole process. And that hasn't been the case for me. Unfortunately, given everything, it was still stage 4.
It's been difficult for Kayleigh to fully process what it means to be stage 4.
I actually only found out, confirmed, essentially, that it was stage 4 the last month or so, because it's one singular nodule in my right lung that they can't biopsy because it's too deep. That I got a CT scan done in September. The nodule has shrunk significantly. So it double-edged sword because it confirms that it was stage 4, but good news that it's shrunk about half its size or more.
Kayleigh is considered ogliometastatic, meaning the cancer has spread to a limited number of other locations in the body.
So far, the treatment is working and everything is shrinking considerably. What's holding me together is that, my team is treating me with curative intent. So, I'm holding on to that. And that is, my, just silver lining through this all. So I know things can change. I know cancer is unpredictable, but I'm holding on to that one piece, and doing everything that I possibly can that's within my own control to, give myself the best fighting chance. Just knowing that it's okay. I can do this.
In the chaos, Kayleigh has found herself living for the quiet moments.
It's definitely given me a new perspective on life, and I'm learning to slow down, to appreciate the little things. Every day a little bit more livable. It's just I feel more clear. I feel more, like myself, as long as I can keep doing that. Going for walks and talking things out with my fiancé. And I journal, and I'm also reading a lot. So reading cancer books to arm myself with knowledge on things that I can do and add. And I try meditating also, and yoga, just to kind of keep things, calm and zen as much as I can.
With wedding plans on hold,
sometimes I just throw myself into wedding planning and get lost there and stay there.
Kayleigh still dreams of her big day.
That's just been my goal at the end of this. I know that might not be the case and things can change, and who knows how long this journey will be, but for now, that's just kind of keeping me level-headed, and it's exciting, and it adds joy to my life in a time where there's a lot of chaos and just emotions, and it's an emotional roller coaster. So that's the silver lining also within it all. Just try to focus on that and focus on what things that make me happy.
And Kayleigh is happy she pushed for answers after that one symptom on that one day.
You have your best intentions in mind, and so you have to remember that, and just make sure, you're advocating for yourself. If things don't seem right, then speak up and ask questions. Be a thorn in the system's side, kind of to an extent, of course, be respectful, but you matter. This is your life. You need to make sure that, you're doing everything you can to, push things along.
Thank you for watching The Patient Story. If you connected with this inspiring story, we've queued up another one for you right here. And don't forget to subscribe here to become a part of the Patient Story community as we work to humanize cancer. And remember, you're not alone.